Greetings. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm Campson the Oracle, and I have Ernest in the background, keeping your Oracle being able to be copacetic with this technology while Mercury is in retrograde. Can we give a huge ashe for that? Because it's definitely been crazy with devices and stuff. I don't know if anybody else notices, but yeah, it's definitely been a lot of that. So yes, we are here. We made it. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is a pop-up podcast. We are a NUVERSELive.com. That's our website. That's not who we are, but that's our website. And we posted up on there where you can get access to all kinds of things that are very, very transformative, no bullshit, and it gets straight to the point. And I'm just in a space where I don't want to continue to live using the 3D coping mechanisms because it makes me feel miserable. It just makes me feel miserable. So I have been digging in deep as to what's going on with us right now. And I could not pull myself into sharing this message fast enough because I feel like some activations are going to happen. I know that a lot of y'all have been placed in a new body, a new light body, and it's been activated, and it's not being in agreement with your brain's way of thinking and doing things anymore. And so I know that it's kind of freaky and kind of crazy, and you almost feel like you don't have control, you don't over yourself. And so it can be frustrating. And I wanted to get on here and share with you some of the techniques that I have found very useful and effective and do not require a lot of energy to transcend the triggers, because it's a lot of triggering that's happening, and to be able to transcend some of the traumas that we are revisiting. So whether we want to revisit these traumas or not, we are revisiting these traumas, and um you can almost feel a trigger building up, but it's like it's a part of you that do not want to admit that you're getting triggered at the same time because you don't want to feel like you're being weak and shit. So in that moment, the ego like, hold on, hold up, hold up, hold up. It's some uncertainty going on. I gotta come in there and make sure, make sure that he feeling strong and feeling in control of things, even though he isn't. But we just gotta make him feel like it. And your body is like, no, no, we're not doing that. And your head is telling you one thing, and your heart is trying to tell you something else. So it's been one hell of a journey the last few days, and me getting to the root of this to share this with the collective. Now, these podcasts are going to be had on our Mighty Network from now on. We've done one where we brought on Dr. Blind, and he shared some amazing information about the functionary and some profound stories behind the creation of Chocolate City and some of the connections with Prince, the artist known as Prince Nelson Rogers. And y'all know that I got a whole relationship with him in the astral realm, been going on for a few years now. He that much of my favorite, and he show up everywhere I go, especially if I'm having a day where my depression is difficult to shake. Everywhere I go, he pop up. Like, I really mean this. So if you've been following us for a while, you know about that, but we shared that in the podcast. So stories you never heard before, things about him and Bobby Hemming. I mean, it was just a really lit ass, libate and chill podcast. So we're going to continue doing this on Mighty Networks. But tonight, you're getting this special live on YouTube because I have been instructed to do this. So I want to start off by saying, every program, course, and platform where we have something going on that could be beneficial for you right now is going to be placed in the chat. Okay. Shout out to April. She holding it down. I got a team of people now surrounding me. And I got so much gangster gratitude for the transformations that I have been able to be a part of with y'all on this journey. So just know if you have any questions or if I say something and you missed it, all of the information that you need will be in the chat because I will be channeling. And sometimes I can't control how fast the information is coming through. Okay. So we're going to begin. And now that I have said that, now what I want to talk about is the fact that not only are we in new bodies that will not allow us to be toxic inside of our minds anymore with how we talk to ourselves. That's why your body get triggered and you get sensations and you start breathing in your chest and you get in fight or flight and your nostrils flaring up. But you probably the whole time you saying you cool and you zenned out. Remember, because it's the old 3D programming, right? To be vulnerable is not to be strong. So I need to make sure that I always appear to be strong. Those things are ego-based lessons that we are ready to transcend. So I want to tell you a secret that was shared with me. And the secret was your triggers are actually preset reminders for you to transcend your triggers so that you can transcend trauma. That is all that we are being triggered to do. The triggers are not to fuck up our relationship with ourselves. The triggers are not to fuck up our relationship with the people that we love and care about. It's the triggers, everything that you probably think the trigger's showing up for, I can almost guarantee you that's not why it's happening. And I want to use my third eye ability and connecting with the cosmos to channel and share with you how you can transcend your triggers and begin transcending trauma. And I don't want to sell you no wolf ticket and make it seem like it's going to be just overnight. I'm not going to do that to you. I'm going to keep it 1,000 wow with you. As my homie Bliss would say, you know, my sister. But it's work. It is soul work and you cannot run from it anymore. And if you can't avoid being triggered, how are you going to evolve if you turn into the 8-year-old scared kid you used to be because you didn't feel safe or you didn't feel protected or you didn't feel loved? Because if you continue to do these reenactments, you're actually supporting the hologram that we're purging, which is 3D and suffering, and everything is wrong, and people are always attacking you, and nobody likes you, and being wrong is dangerous. For a lot of us, we grew up in an existence where being wrong could possibly mean failing your test and not being able to go to college and do the things that you love to do. For a lot of us, being wrong meant we would go to hell for not being able to control our flesh and mind so that we aren't being sinful. So for a long time, a lot of us live with these iron fists, these totalitarian dictatorship ways of being over top of us, and it trickled down. And so we just became fearful people, afraid of fucking up, right? So, and it don't matter how deep you was in participating in religion. This is cultural, society, so many different levels, every aspect of life. We have been socially engineered and manipulated to be separated from source, but it's not a true separation. It's a hologram. It's a hell loop. It's an illusion. It's a tape player playing inside of your mind, just waiting on you to pause it and record something else over top of the cassette. Know how we used to do. Shout out to my 70s and 80s babies. Maybe some of you 90s babies know what I'm talking about. But rewind it and you go put something else on that cassette. Something that puts you in a mood that is nurturing to your soul, that feel good to you, that vibe with you, right? That allow your mind to be at peace, even if it's just for a moment. That's what we're doing. See, cassettes, we could do that. So, that is the visual that I've been given to share with you. So the new light body is no longer sinking. So this is why your triggers feel more intense to you. Okay. Most of us here who resonate to be star seeds or chosen ones, one of the signs that you are the chosen one within your bloodline lineage to end generational curses is that you become more sensitive to energy and you begin isolating intuition from, I'm just perceiving this from some past bullshit I went through. And that might not even be what it really is. I'm just downloading this as a problem, but it might not even be a problem. I'm just so used to it being a lot of problems. I just automatically assume and get defensive and jump to a conclusion that somebody got a problem with me. You know what I'm saying? So it's just because when you was younger, maybe these things happened and you didn't get a chance to heal that part of you. So your auric field has a tear in it that could make you susceptible to these energies that's definitely body snatching, and it impacts us too. Sometimes it's okay to admit that all of us experience some type of interference with an energy that we really can't put our finger on, and it seems to take us out of our vortex. It's just part of the human experience. That's all that it is. So because we're becoming more sensitive to things, it's tender. To live is to feel tender. To love is to also feel the pain of when you feel love is being destroyed or withdrawn or not cultivated and supported. So for those of us who resonated star seeds or were black sheeps and outcasts in the family, it was in your soul contract that you would come here without those things a lot of other people have, so that you would be reminded to be on the journey to find out who you are, your authentic self, and to find out what your purpose is in life and what you are here to do. You didn't want to play no more games. So you was just like, no, don't give me the mom and daddy that's going to teach me that I am an important soul who has a right to their own feelings. Give me the parents that do the opposite, because I want to be a part of the solution. And unless I have the experience, I can't be a part of the solution. So I'm going to sign up for the dysfunctional family class and go ahead and give me, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to make this a full-time semester, and go ahead and cue me up for some, extra things like addictions and alcoholism. I definitely want to experience that too, because if this is a huge problem on planet Earth, I would love to be one of the people that learn to transcend these things, right? And so situations in your life are the classrooms that you signed up for so that you can get your certifications, so that you can go to the next level in the simulation. So now that we are beginning to identify, like, what is that HSP, a highly sensitive person? I think I might be one of those people. And you can do a little reading about it. I'm not going to get too deep into it in here because I have expressed some of how that shows up, but that's one of the signs. And that's also a sign that you are the chosen one that agreed to reverse engineer the things that have caused trauma in your family's bloodline and beyond, because this transcends time and space. So some of us are beginning to identify ourselves to be empaths. And maybe it crossed your mind before, maybe you kind of, but you're taking it so serious now, where you like, you know what? Let me do some research on empaths. Because if I don't know the details of this and I'm identifying and feeling resonance with this, then how will I be able to conjure my best life? And I don't know myself. To know God is to know thyself. So I'm going to learn about empaths. And you start reading and watching videos about empaths and how empaths typically are people who can feel other people's feelings, and they feel them so deeply where sometimes they can't even separate their emotions from someone else's. So the way that I discovered I was an empath was from the interactions that I had throughout most of my life that was undeniably different, where I could feel people pain and I would attach to them and be determined to rescue them, be determined to remove that pain from them. And that was a hard lesson to learn because I didn't understand, overstand energy and the treasure that energy is. And so as an empath, I began to absorb everybody's pain and unprocessed trauma, things that people weren't even aware of they was dealing with. Like when you walk past somebody in the store and they dealing with feeling a lot of pain about something that happened between them and their adult child, and now they feeling like a shitty ass parent, and the adult child and said some things that's really weighing on you. I would be the person who walk past you in the grocery store, and here I go, start channeling. Excuse me, can I share something with you? you know, and they dead sister is standing behind them saying, don't tell them, don't do the same thing that I did and go drinking and then try to drive home and have a wreck and die behind this. I just showed up as the messenger to let you know, because you are important to our bloodline, that we don't die behind the wheel because we've been drinking anymore. You know what I'm saying? And that message would come through me. And I started to wonder, like, what is this thing that I can do? Why am I able to do this? And so I learned that I was an empath, a very, very powerful empath. And there are different types of empaths. So these are things that's coming online for us to let us know that we are activating our light body and being able to transcend some of the things that appear to be limitations. And so innovation don't happen unless we have some limitations. Everything that you're using right now to listen to me was created by someone who noticed a limitation, mostly in communication. So now we can communicate without wires because somebody innovated it. But there is another side to that too. Too much radiation is not good for the planet or us. So we're finding balance, right? We're finding balance. Um, so what's happening is you're also becoming more telepathic, telekinetic, clairvoyant, clairsentient. So, these things can be done just from sleeping. Like you really don't have to do a lot. This is we set a timer to awaken as the collective of humans in the front line, first wave volunteers, second wave volunteers in the age of Aquarius, to figure these things out, you know. So one of the ways that you can transcend triggers is by doing this. Not only can you transcend a trigger by doing this when it happens, but this is a really simple alchemical way to transform the trigger into something that's usually go put a smile on your face. Even if not in that moment, later, and you're gonna be feeling gangster gratitude about something that you accomplished that maybe you couldn't accomplish before. Can you is that okay? So this is what you can do. This is one of the first tips. You might want to take notes and jot this down, because this has been super effective for me. And when we write things down, it does bring a level of manifestation and the ability to attract more of that energy when you're writing it down. Y'all already know writing is very, very powerful and it is magical. And once you write it, so mote it be, so it is. So what I've been doing is observing myself, observing the amount of kindness that I give outside of me, and observing how much kindness that I speak inside of me to myself. Okay, that's the first thing. Now, for me, I notice that I give more kindness to people outside of me than I do to kindness inside of me. My internal dialogue was more critical and negative than I knew it to be prior to using this technique. Okay. So I challenged myself to pay closer attention to the level of kindness inside and out. By doing this, you are allowing the energy of Libra, the scales that we're under right now. You're allowing the energy that was depicted as Mayat in ancient Kemet to show you the areas where you are investing too much of certain vibrations. And that's why it seems that you create self-fulfilling prophecies of negative situations, and you just continue to attract these negative things over and over again. And you don't know how to make it stop. Okay. Now, you may notice something different. Whatever you notice, this technique is going to work for you as long as you are aligned with the intention and as long as you are open in your heart to the possibilities. So if you go into this with a closed mind and a closed heart, it may not have an impact. Okay. But if you go into this with the curiosity of a child and like, I just want to see, I'm just going to observe myself today and see, because the goal is to not do it judgmentally. As soon as you start judging yourself, because I did this as well, I noticed me saying something to myself that I wouldn't even say to a dog. Like, not like a pet that we love or care about. I mean, like a dog that's barking and running up in the yard and we got our kids outside or something. Like now my energy need to be big dog motherfucking energy, big mama. Because you're not finna run up in the yard and fuck with the kids. And if I'm too slow to run, then we finna just be beast to beast. Because I'm just gonna go into protection mode to protect my children, right? So I noticed my inner dialogue was very critical. It was things like you suck. Look at you just suck. You completely ruined 3 hours of your day trying to fix a problem that now you just discovered really wasn't a problem. It was something put in place to protect you from something else. And though some of that was true, I didn't have to allow it to paint a narrative, to script the narrative of me hating myself, disliking myself, talking bad about myself. So though those 3 hours could have been spent doing something else, I don't have to talk crazy to myself and talk down on myself behind it as a result of that. And how is that going to help me anyway? So I caught myself doing that. And if you can continue to practice doing this, you can catch that inner dialogue when it starts to go negative. It drifts so fast. Sometimes you don't even notice. You might be 16 negative thoughts in before you realize, like, dang, I'm being real hard on myself right now. What the heck? Like, that's some messed up shit that I just thought about my own self, talking about I'm a failure. And I don't have the ability to lead anybody to anything because I failed at life. Like, you got to catch yourself and be like, hold up now. So that's one of the most effective ways that I have found to do this mental alchemy. And it's also psychic warding. It protects your mind from other energies that will seek to manipulate you. And the parasitic archonic energies that feed off of us staying in these low vibratory states because it creates suffering. Ultimately, it creates suffering. That's just what it is. It is what it is, and it's okay. We know how to create suffering. Most of us here are probably masters at creating suffering. That don't have to be a negative thing, right? So I tell you to flip the coin. What's on the other side of that? Well, if you've been able to destroy a couple of relationships and create suffering, then that means that you can also create relationships and create healing, because everything goes both ways. Flip the coin. What's on the other side? What's on the other scale? This is all about balance and harmony, looking at both sides. Nothing is black and white. So even with flipping the coin, it's still a lot of ridges and different shades of colors and contrasts all around the edge of that coin. And the more you observe non-judgmentally, the more the things that really matter become what you're focused on instead of distraction, instead of being distracted by what's happening in your particular reality so that you feel like a prisoner in your own life, right? So the war on consciousness is not about putting actually, like a lot of us thought that, and that is happening, but it's more so energetic. Okay. And your 3D avatar, which is reaching its expiration date, right? That's the coping mechanisms, the false self, the mask, the defensiveness, the passive aggressiveness, the not being fully honest, being withholding and not having candor, all of those things that we do because we're afraid to be hurt. And so we push things away. We don't like uncertainty. We don't like for something to remind us of our trauma. So we push it away, right? So it's almost like the thing that our divine self wanted to remind us of, to go within to find our power, has become the thing we hate. So if the thing that you agreed to be the key to life, you know, to be the catalyst for you to seek to be a better version of you every day, if you start to hate that thing, you can't help but be in internal conflict in the inside, because the very thing that's showing up to serve you, you are downloading it as something to harm you. And this keeps us in a perpetual state of suffering, triggering, and trauma that is not giving us the effect it was supposed to. That was a lot. So I hope y'all able to get a few notes out of that. I know that's a lot. But that is the dialogue that you can begin having, if you haven't already, to be able to transcend your triggers. This life and whatever you are experiencing, whatever is showing up right now, you are not being punished. It is not a curse. Okay. It's actually the most beautiful way the universe guides us on the pathway to being aligned with the new version of ourselves, to be authentic, to be our I divine selves. This is true I divinity. It transcends identity, where your wounds and your imperfections and your flaws is what you focus on the most. So that becomes your identity. And as long as you resonate with the negative inner dialogue, well, the external parasitic energies will stay in a contract with you to sit around, wait till you get triggered so that they can jump on you and feed off of you. And then you end up shooting out some energy because you don't know that not only have all of these other things coming online, but now you can actually program what happens in a simulation, and you can manifest stuff a whole lot faster than you used to. So now you could have one negative thought that you know you need to put in check and you don't, and immediately that shit boomerang right back around. And that same negative thought your child might say to you that you said in your head about somebody else or to yourself, like just that quick. So we must learn how to be responsible with this new light body that's coming online, so that we're not causing destruction, trauma, and chaos and suffering, but we are actually allowing ourselves to be a part of the solution. So if any of this sounds like something that you are interested in, can you drop us a hell yes? I want to create my heaven on earth. Like whatever resonates, drop us something below. Like, are you resonating with this? Does this feel like that source code message you've been calling in to be activated? Like, who's resonating with me right now? And this was so important I skipped over so many different channels and things I would have done to make sure things are professional. And I want it to be something that you can focus on. I go overboard. Y'all know my wounded inner child archetype is the rescuer. So it's nothing that I won't do sometimes for others. Okay. Beautiful. Beautiful. So, I wouldn't have stopped in the middle of my Saturn's day, Saturday, to do this had it not been this important. So I have a few more things I'm going to share with you before we move on, because if it's resonating and you want to be able to tap into these things and would like to have some help doing it, then all of that information is what you have access to in the chat. And I'm going to go over some of that with you in just a moment, but I wanted to share one more with you. I'm going to share you one more thing that was so profound. I couldn't even hold it in. I couldn't wait to get on here and share this. But the rest of this conversation and these activations is the ability for empaths, highly sensitive persons, recovering codependents, right? People who have experienced narcissism, people who resonate with post-traumatic slave syndrome, people who resonate with complex PTSD, okay? People who resonate as having anxiety, depression, bipolar, personality disorder, borderline personality disorder, histrionic, schizophrenia. Psychiatry has many different names for the way our neurodiverse pathology shows up. I enjoy learning about that because self-mastery is something that I care a lot about. I enjoy even more being able to go into the energetics of that and see what's happening. And so this is what I've found to be super helpful for me. This will help you to have a healthy level of psychic shielding as you are recovering from these things so that you are not recreating new traumas. So the first one is the AAA mafia. Now, if y'all not new, y'all know about AAA mafia. I tried to call it AAA tribe at one time, just didn't resonate the same. I was like, it's just got to have a mafia on the end of it because this shit right here is some gangster alchemical ways to approach life and perceive things that we go through. So if you've never heard it before, and if you heard it before, I'm going to go over it one more time, but I have some information added to it with this. So if you are writing notes, you might want to take some of this and work with it later. So once you become aware of a trigger, right? And possibly because you have began the root chakra camp, the root camp that we have on Mighty Networks, that course, maybe you've done that and you already know your wounded inner child archetype. So that triggering could feel like rejection, which could be one of your wounded child archetypal wounds. It could feel like abandonment. You could feel in that moment of being triggered that you're not safe. So now you're starting to get defensive, right? Whatever it may be, accept it as being valid. Like, don't treat it like it's an enemy. Treat it like an ally. So say, okay, in this moment, I'm triggered and I think it might be connected to me not feeling safe. Instead of me bypassing that trigger, I'm going to accept it as valid. I might have a reason in this moment to feel unsafe, and I might not. But if I don't accept it as valid, then I'm bypassing it. I'm dismissing my own emotions. So I'm abandoning myself, which is what I feel happened to me. That's my conditioning. So I'm going to do it to my own self. Anytime we sink below the veil of consciousness, we begin to recreate the same wounds that we experience throughout our life and growing up. So accept it as valid, because that's what you would have wanted someone to have done for you maybe when you was younger and you was feeling some of those things. For somebody to say, it's valid that you feel abandoned. I've been at work all day for the last 2 weeks and you hadn't seen me but 30 minutes. It's valid that you feel that way. It's valid that you feel unsafe, because we be arguing and fighting and inviting people over to be breaking tables and, having parties and leaving beer bottles everywhere and cigarette butts everywhere and burning holes in the couch and, the house smoked up, and you go to school the next day smelling like you was in the club all night, but you ain't been to the club and you in elementary. Like, I know that was pretty graphic and detailed, but that's one of my personal experiences that's been coming up for me, right? So it's valid that maybe I do have a reason to not be feeling safe. It don't matter if it's really happening or if I'm just misperceiving what's happening based on the past, which is casting a filter over the present moment. I know that's the thing where you separate whether or not is this really happening right now, or is this an old trigger that I'm feeling? That's great work to do and great shadow work to do. But I'm telling you to take a break from doing that right now in this energy, to allow more harmony and balance to come in with less effort. So instead of isolating whether or not it's a reason for you to feel it, just accept that you feel it, accept that you triggered, treat it like an ally. Okay, this is your mafia. This is your A mafia, right? Your triple A 3D matrix hack mafia source code showing up. So just accept that it's valid. Once you do that, the thing that matters most is that accepting that trigger and not judging it. When your spirit team, your I divine self see you practicing non-judgment when you're triggered, it expands the potential for you to have experiences that will transcend your triggers. And you could have a major healing happen one day and you didn't do nothing but play the meditation one time and got healed of something. It can happen like that only if you open up your heart chakra to receive the magical healing energies coming in, to expand our ability to have brain heart coherence so that we can expand how far our heart can emit love and anchor that frequency by being non-judgmental. It's very powerful stuff. For those of you who resonated with the Airbender, Doctor Strange, this is us. So you might not have the graphics to make it look as exciting, like the movies does, but this is us. And we don't have to see it to believe it. It's our believing it that makes it real, right? Not our seeing it. So the alchemy will just naturally come just by you practicing non-judgment with your triggers. And you will find yourself having less moments of being triggered because those specific triggers aren't necessary anymore for you to get to the next level. Once you have done that, let's just say it's with your partner or somebody, a coworker you work with, your kids or somebody, because I do want to address some of the toxic energies coming up from our traumas. It can create a toxic, tense environment. So I want to address some of the things that I have been given and activated that you can use when some of these energies are purging out of you, because it just oozes out of us like sweat, y'all. But if we keep judging it as if it's just the most detrimental, horrible, disastrous thing happening, it's almost like, what did you awaken for to want to go back to sleep? And it's no going back to sleep from here, because deep down in your heart, that's the last thing that you want to do. And even though the work is starting to feel more real and starting to feel more intense, and everything happening in the world is reflecting the intensity and the conflict we feel inside, deep down inside of you, you know that you don't want to go back. So no matter how stuck you feel, going back is not an option. We must move forward. We must stay focused. Okay. So if that's the situation, and you have not been enforcing healthy boundaries in your lifetime, and you've been existing as a star seed, empath, highly sensitive person, intuitive, who became codependent because by being hyper vigilant and knowing how other people in the house or in your environment was feeling, and being able to be the peacekeeper, at least try to, doing all of those things, it burnt us out. And it's something that we can release. Some things that you feel that's coming up, it's just coming up because your divine self is like, this was the time that you set on the alarm clock for your spiritual journey to release this thing. And so it's just going to keep coming up because you keep hitting snooze. And it's just like, this is what we agreed to. So each time you hit snooze, it's the trigger just going to come back around to you until you finally realize why it's showing up. And that's what I'm teaching right now. So you stop and you say, you know what? I haven't had healthy boundaries. I was afraid to really enforce boundaries with people because I don't want people to be mad at me, you know? And when I was a kid, people being mad at me could sometimes mean me getting kicked out the house. And here I am, a beautiful 15-year-old girl in the hood getting kicked out the house. So for me, that conditioning went so deep that it was like nothing that I wouldn't do to try to be safe. But I don't have to do that anymore. I made the difficult decisions to go no contact with my biological family so that I could heal, right? But I still have to remind myself every single day, all day, that it's okay. You're safe. Nobody's judging you. Nobody's mad at you. Nobody's going to do anything to hurt your feelings. Nobody's going to create a smear campaign and talk about how terrible of a person you are. And even if they do, you've transcended so much of that. And you're not going to even get offended because you know that each person on this planet plays an important role in the outcome of the evolution of humanity, and that we need people to play all parts for us to experience the parts of us that were repressed, which are the most powerful parts of us hidden in the shadows. Once that information comes in, you can begin to retrain your nervous system to be safe in the inside. And what will happen is your spiritual immunity, your ability to protect your own emotions and enforce healthy boundaries, it just becomes second nature, where you'll just say, hey, I don't feel safe right now. Well, what's going on? And I wouldn't usually express this. And I usually would be concerned about how you're going to react about it, you know, because it could be with a boss or something and you don't want to get laid off. I don't know. It could be so many different things. But you could be like, I gotta express this. I don't feel safe. I don't like the way that you're speaking to me or whatever is happening. And I need to take a moment away from this. And if there is truly something that needs to be resolved, when I'm in a more neutral space, and if you're in a neutral space, we can work through this together. But I need a moment because I'm processing some things. And this may not be as terrible as it feels. I just need a moment to process some things so that I can ensure that whatever I say is my truth and it's coming from a balanced place. Right? So this is you allowing yourself to enforce those boundaries, and you can't control what the other person is going to do. Stop trying. Stop trying to micromanage other people's emotional responses to the things that you do. You're going to always be tired because you're always trying to make sure that people are happy with you. And that's why a lot of us had chronic illnesses, some mental conditions that's just not changing, and chronic fatigue. Okay. So that's the reason that a lot of that is happening. So that is just a sneak peek into what NUVERSE has had going on. This is resonating with you. Let me give you a rundown of what you can do with us, some of your options to tap into these new transcendent ways to overcome triggers and leave generational wealth in the spirit realm. That matters so much. Pun intended. And I know that a lot of people right now are talking about generational wealth as far as resources and material wealth, and that is very important as well. But the thing that I have not heard enough about is the spiritual generational wealth that you are investing. You don't have to change your socioeconomic level, your job, any of that, to begin investing spiritual generational wealth into this world, yourself, and your bloodline. You can start doing that right now. So if what I'm saying is resonating with you, what we're going to do, we got a sacred space already created. We've launched tonight Sacral Camp to be the follow-up to Root Camp, as we are healing our wounded inner child archetypes, working through these things, because it's whether you do it with us or not, you still gonna be triggered to work on it because it's what you agreed to do. You just might not remember. Most of us don't. Okay, but that's why it's so annoying when it's happening, because it's something that's important for what your soul came here to do. That's just a reminder for you to know this is something very important. So these courses that we're creating, we're going to go through each chakra at a time for 10 days. And you will have exercises, meditations, ways of connecting with these parts of yourself that have been effective and useful for people all around the world. There's no judgment in this space. You can come in there and share your experience or what happened in this space as well. We're making sure that we keep this space sacred because this work matters so much. And for a lot of us, with the economy being so unstable as we're going through this reset, this Great Depression, some of us don't really have the physical resources right now to do some of the investments and things we want to do. So we are acknowledging that these things are happening as well. So because of that, we've priced this course at $4, only $4 for this course. And 10 days don't sound that long, but it's intensive. And I cannot see any reason you will not have a positive outcome, even if it's just you securing more peace, safety inside of yourself, so that whatever is about to happen as Mars is going retrograde, and we know there's a lot of talks about war, and I've been talking about the water war, the WAP war, the war on consciousness, the bio warfare is happening. But if you cultivate these spaces within these vortex of energy within your being, you will be grounded and anchored, and you will be able to get into the eye of the storm. We don't have to leave Earth. We don't have to try to make the storm go away. But those with the guidance system and the right tools will be able to get in the eye of that storm and be safe no matter what's happening. So in the NUMS, which is New You Mystery School class, this is the next level up. It's more intense work. But we will be delving further into ways that you can access your repressed shadow self without triggering your ego to shut down the communication before it even begins. I'm going to say that one more time. I practiced this enough time and enough years that I'm ready to share this. But in Noon's class, we will delve further into ways you can access your repressed shadow self without triggering your ego, which is what closes down the communication, before it can really begin to do the real work. And so your negative inner dialogue that goes on inside of your mind to keep you safe by keeping you in comfort zones, there is a way that you can give your ego a total nap out and catch the guard sleeping. And once you know how to put the guard to sleep, then you can communicate with your shadow self, and you can communicate, and your I divine self becomes something you're more connected to, because you're more connected to the parts of you that create your whole being. That's the key. So I know a lot of y'all, like, I feel like something blocking me. I feel like it's a blockage. I'd be communicating, and sometimes it'd be on again, off again. In NUVERSE, I'm going to be sharing with you a powerful way that I have been able to give my ego a TKO, total nap out, bypass all of that. And I've been transcending so many traumatic things that come up by using these techniques. So that class, you can sign up for that class at NUVERSELive.com as well. Our Patreon link should be in the chat. And for you to access that, we will send out an email letting you know when the next class is going to be. At this moment, if I'm not mistaken, we have already scheduled it, but I want you to make sure you're on the newsletter so we can be sure, because sometimes things do change and I have to switch around how I'm doing what I'm doing to ensure that I'm safe as well. Okay. And that I'm taking care of myself as well. If it was up to me, I would just take care of everybody else. Like I said, I've admitted to it. That's my shadow thing. So I'm finding a balance, and I don't want to be a hypocrite. I don't want to be one of them people who not being integrity and actually practicing the things that they're teaching people. Okay. So I want to slide that in there. So if you want to do a more intense class, we can do that together. Okay. New You Mystery School, NUMS for short. All right. We also have the Religious Detox course. For those of you, if you feel like your experiences have been intense and you starting to realize it is blocking you, right? And some of those beliefs is not allowing you to release the self-judgment, and you find yourself judging yourself a lot. If that happens to be you, then for you, we have the Religious Detox. And it's basically a day-to-day course. You can go at your own pace, one day at a time. You don't have to guess what to do, what to read, what meditation to use, what to learn, any of that. It's basically like having me and Ernest as your spirit guide throughout the whole process. So that's there. And that comes with so many freebies and so many special things and discounted things. You just got to click the link and go check it out. For those of you who missed the root camp, it's not too late. Root camp is still open. And when you sign up for these camps, you're automatically getting discounts on products in the spiritual emporium that can be used to support your journey as well as you're working through the course. Okay. So it's a lot of freebies in those too. We also have the Isis Oracle deck, which is one of the main decks that I first started using when I awakened. And it helped me so much to get to where I am now. And that's available on our website now for those of you who want to get some practice in. Maybe you've been doing it for a while. That's what I've been using to work through my chakras, and rebirth has absolutely been happening. We also have the Chakra Kit available on the website. The Chakra Kit contains the Chakra Rose White Sage bundle, Palo Santo sticks, okay, 2 of them, and we have 1 selenite stick inside of the Chakra Kit. Also, we have a chakra lava bracelet, and I love using those, and take the potions and put it on the lava bracelet to activate the lava bracelet to carry the intention of that potion. So if you're calling in abundance and prosperity or protection, you put a little dab of the Kali Lotus Lux or the dragon potion for protection, or you can use the abundance potion. If you want to be grounded more often, you can use the root chakra potion, put it on your chakra lava bracelet. So that's in the Chakra Kit. And the other thing I'm so excited is we have Black votive candles. Black votive candles are getting harder and harder to find year by year because so many people are awakening and so many people are desiring to go deeper and go within and remove and banish negative energy. So I've been reading through the forums and stuff and reading through the reviews, and like I was curious why black candles keep selling out. And that's why. And that's beautiful that more people are saying, you know what? I want to be responsible for removing negative energy from my environment. And so that's what I'm going to do. So we have those. And we also have obsidian scrying mirrors that you can use as well. If you don't know how to use obsidian crystals or the benefits, you can read about the benefits of obsidian. We keep a lot of information on the website, NUVERSELive.com. But these scrying mirrors, even if you just get it because of the obsidian, which provides protection on many different levels, in Nooms, I'm going to be showing you how I scry to communicate with my I divine self and with my shadow self and with my wounded inner child. And I'm going to explain to you why that works so well, especially when it's interference to get that communication through. So it's not spooky. I ain't gonna lie to you. I thought it was spooky at first. And I'm like, what? Until I really started to get these downloads. My inner child was like, baby, I hide in the dark because it don't be safe in the light. Your world is all of them things that happened to me. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, okay. So darkness, it makes you feel safe. So that helps a lot too. Okay. Also, we'll be having on October the 15th. We already posted the poll. We want to know what the next topic is you want to discuss for the podcast. Okay. So we'll be doing that as well. I appreciate y'all. I stayed on here much longer than I needed to, but I do have other things that I need to tend to. Everything that you need should be in the description as well under all videos and in the chat. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much for your donations. I've been shouting y'all out about the donations, but I appreciate y'all so much because it is helping us to continue to provide more courses, more content, build up our store, and just continue to build and grow together. For those of you who not new, you already know what we're about to say. Man, your third eye has just been kissed. Peace and power. One love.